pirates so eco-friendly? Because they follow the 3 R's. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. So research from today and past decades are showing that the need for environmental stewardship has never been higher. The reason for this is because of human action. If you don't know what environmental stewardship is, Aldo Leopold said it best. He's an American author, scientist, ecologist, and conservationalist. He defined it as dealing with man's relation to land and the animals and plants which grow on it. This affects everyone. Our actions matter. Climate change is due to human actions. People aren't environmental stewards, not as many people as should be, because they're ill-informed. And the way that we can fix that is to educate people, because we can be the solution. In order for people to change, they need to understand how serious the problem is first. Climate change can lead to increased disease and sickness. According to the World Health Organization, higher temperatures mean amplified illness, like malaria and diarrhea. And aero allergens in the air are more prominent in high heat, which can lead to worse asthma. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a story about my life. So I suffer from pretty severe asthma. I've had it since I was a really little kid, and that meant that on bad air quality days, I wasn't allowed to go out to recess, and I had to sit inside all alone. It was pretty sad. And like, every winter when I'm at home, I live in the Salt Lake Valley. So if you've ever been up north in the winter, you see that nice thick layer of nasty smog sitting in the valley. That's like carbon dioxide. It's car emissions. It's just bad stuff. It makes even people who don't have asthma cough. So every winter when I'm at home, I get really bad pneumonia and I'm coughing. If you have asthma, you understand the feeling of not being able to breathe. It's a lung disease, like it's terrible. And if you don't have asthma, that doesn't mean that it still can't affect you, bad air pollution. Imagine having a child born with asthma or developing asthma and having to watch them suffer and not be able to breathe and have them pack around this hunk everywhere they go, the worst. So just because you don't have asthma doesn't mean that it can't affect someone in your life or even a child in the future. And air pollution is only getting worse. Some misconceptions is that just because bad air pollution, you can't see it, it's not there. Another misconception is that when I conducted my survey, you guys, over 33% of you said that you didn't think that bad air pollution affected you, but it does. And those ways are the increased illness that I talked about earlier. And the comfort of living in a bubble that is preventing people from making efforts to protect the environment should be over. So as I talked about the problem, I'm just gonna kind of give you guys an idea of some solutions. So as we learn more about the effects that we're having on the environment, I think that we can be a lot more inclined to change and find simple everyday ways to be more environmentally conscious. If we're willing to adjust in small ways, like reducing our carbon footprint, and some ways we can do this is taking shorter showers and eating a lot less red meat and switching to maybe more plant-based or vegetable-based meals just a few times a week. I'm not saying you need to be vegetarian or anything but we love our meat, but still, there's just a couple days a week we can just switch to more vegetable-based meals. Another way is to start a garden. So if maybe one day when we're homeowners, a really awesome way to reduce our carbon footprint is to start our own garden and grow vegetables and fruits and compost some of our waste into those gardens. That's a really awesome way. Another way is to change our transportation. Guys, we literally go to Snow College. It takes 5 minutes to walk anywhere. Why are you driving? Stop it. When you start your car, just starting your car and idling for just a few seconds is releasing so much toxic chemicals into the air that we breathe. Another way is to cut down on single-use plastics. So things things like plastic water bottles, we don't need them. Just use your hydro flask or your reusable water bottles instead. Another thing that's really cool that we can do is a super awesome bamboo toothbrush. So instead of buying plastic toothbrushes all the time, we can just buy like a wood or bamboo toothbrush that we can use. Those things last forever. I have one and I've had it for years and years, and it just doesn't really go bad ever. It's awesome. Another way is to volunteer and educate ourselves. When we know more about the environment and the effects that we're having on it, we're going to feel more motivated to make a change in our lives. Lastly, we can learn about and vote for climate-friendly policies. So I encourage you guys to do research on policies that are changing, that are going to affect the environment, and to vote in a way that's going to make our environment more healthy. It's not hard to be an environmental steward, and anyone can do it. As we continue to end the ignorance and stigma around the environmental stewardship, we can make personal efforts and create a more and sustainable future. In closing, I hope you guys understand the problem and seriousness of bad choices when it comes to the environment. We should care because it affects us, and even if we can't see it and feel it every day, it's going to affect us in the future even more. But we can always make a change, and we can be the solution. There should no longer be the association of like being a hippie or a tree hugger around environmental stewardship. This is the earth that we live on, and we need to protect it. We have a responsibility. We depend on a healthy environment to keep us alive, so it is our responsibility to protect it. So I hope that after listening to me, you guys can be more like a pirate and follow the 3 R's of reducing, reusing, and recycling, and other ways by learning more about it and reducing the stigma and misbeliefs around environmental stewardship, and then just taking small efforts in a better direction to become environmental stewards, because anybody can be one. Thank you.